Welcome everyone back to Experimental Reality. I am, as always, your host from the West Coast of the Midwest. From the West Coast of the Midwest, it is me, as always, Luke. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host Cheyenne,
Whoa.
the 80 millionth most successful streamer, and Josh.
Ayo, wait, what was it? It was Creeper. Oh man.
All right, so you guys remember your lines, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you got the script? Okay,
Yep.
cool.
This was the okay. This
the
is
reason
the
we say
second
that-
time we've recorded this.
Yeah, if you missed the announcement on Twitter, our first audio file basically got corrupted. And
I think we just recorded it wrong.
Yeah, no, like it didn't get corrupted. Essentially what happened was like sound sounded good. We started recording, everything like went good, and then when Josh was editing, he went back to like listen through the playthrough. Luke sounded fine, but we sounded like
Robotic.
like a robot filter was put on our voice.
like I always say, I've got a voice for radio and the face to match.
I'd agree with the second part of that.
Hey.
Oof. All right.
Anyways,
So
Luke,
do
I don't,
we
even
go.
know, I don't even know where to go from here, honestly.
do we want to start with how we started last time with Joker?
Sure.
Do we want to rehash our conversation?
Briefly?
so Joker, good or bad?
Well, it was phenomenal. We've
Obviously.
talked about this, but we talked about last time that never aired about basically what was real and what was not.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And I broke it down, and we took Matt Pat theory.
Yeah, to right for it. Matt Pat theory.
Matt Pat's theory.
There you go.
Matt Pat's theory from YouTube. You have to watch everyone in the surroundings. So, if you watch Joker, the scenes that are
Spoilers from here on out.
spoilers from here on out. Yes, if you watch Joker, the scenes that are fake are where everyone in the background does not react as you expect them to react. Cheyenne's playing with the microphone.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
No.
And I just lost my train of thought. Everyone just reacts not the way you would expect them to react. So, like for example, when he's in the comedy club and he's laughing completely on all the offbeats, no one really reacts like you would think. Like I remember watching that and being like, why doesn't no one's even giving him a weird glance? Like there's none of that. Everyone's just ignoring him. And then it kind of flashes to when he's in his apartment working on jokes. And with that scene, that one's pretty obvious. When he's in the comedy club, he's not actually there. He's sitting at home at his table, envisioning himself in the comedy club, thinking of these jokes, right?
Exactly.
Or like the scene in the hospital where it starts off with his fake girlfriend.
Right. Like the only part of the comedy club stuff that actually happened is the awkwardness.
Yep.
Yeah, like
He tries to tell jokes and then just laughs too hard at his own jokes.
yeah,
which
like
aren't
when he was up on stage. Then when all of a sudden like he feels like he's being successful and everyone's laughing, and what's really happening is he's just laughing at himself.
Yep.
right. And
But like at the hospital, then you can see this again where it actually starts off a vision and then turns into reality when he's there with his girlfriend that's fake. Once she leaves, and that's reality when he sees himself on TV. And then we were also talking at the end, is this all of him, like, because obviously there's that one scene at the beginning where it shows him in the insane asylum, but he's not actually in the insane asylum until the end. So then is this all just a retelling of his story in his head? And so then what parts are real and what are not? Is this entirely fake, or is this him mixing in his own thoughts to kind of justify his actions with the reality of situations?
yeah,
So
it's definitely something I kind of want to go back and rewatch later. But rent it on a DVD, of course.
yeah,
It's probably not in theaters anymore.
for sure. I mean, I've seen it twice, and the second time I was able to pick out, using Matt Pat's theory, pick out scenes that were fake, although it wasn't always clear as day. There were some scenes that were like, kind of in the middle there, but it made more sense the second time through. Yeah, The Joker is a great movie. It's almost about to break $1 billion, which would make it the first. It did now?
As far as last I heard, it did.
Last I heard, it was like 30 million short. It wasn't supposed to break it for like another week.
Listeners, do your part.
But yeah, check it out. It might have broken $1 billion. I just know it was on track to.
Okay, the last I saw is 2 days ago, and it said has not yet.
It has not yet, and it was on track to within the next week or so, or week or two.
This weekend, likely.
Likely this weekend,
But-
which would make it the first rated R movie to ever break $1 billion. Also make it one of the top grossing movies of 2019. So that's quite an achievement considering it has a minuscule budget. And by minuscule, I mean compared to other billion-dollar movies, its budget was $55 million.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of movies you expect to break, the $1 million budget, they had, $1 billion at the box office. They had at least a $200 million budget, sometimes a $300 million budget, and they usually spend about 50% of that on marketing. So they probably spent close to $500 million, $400,000 to $500 million on this movie. So whereas Joker maybe at most movie and marketing maybe spent $100 million at most.
Yup.
So yeah, that's quite an achievement.
A little bit of profit.
That's a little bit of profit, yeah. One thing we didn't talk about before, Joaquin Phoenix actually said that he'd be willing to have a conversation about coming back to the table for a second Joker movie.
And he had initially said, I don't want to do a sequel. Like stepping into this movie, it's like, I don't want to do a sequel. And like 3 weeks in, he started talking ideas with the sequel with the director. Because
Nice.
Yeah,
it's great to have an actor that's that invested in his own.
Now, the question is, like, what do you guys think the story then would be? Like,
I think you could go, like, because now he's the Joker. He has become the Joker.
is he, or is he just a crazy person in an asylum?
No, he is, like, that last 20 minutes of the movie, he was the Joker, right? And I think...
Well, the question is it real or not?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, because that all plays out, and he is the Joker, but then the final scene is just with him in the
Insane Asylum.
Yeah.
So it's possible, although if you go off of Matt Pat's theory, he does become the Joker, and him shooting, what's his face? Who's the comedian dude? I can't think of his name. Murray. Yeah, he shoots Murray. That's real.
Murray is the paternity guy.
Shooting Murray is real. What's not real is when there's the homage to The Dark Knight when the ambulance sides the police car and he gets drug out and he's like praised. That's in his head. Him shooting Murray and going to the insane asylum, that's real though.
So the riots happened, but no one gives him any credit.
The riots happened. He didn't get credit, although he envisioned himself being like their leader.
Okay.
Him shooting Murray, though, according to this theory, did actually happen, and that's why he's in the insane asylum, is because he murdered this guy, and he's completely nuts.
I think the murders are things he did. I think all of them.
So that would make sense. That would make sense, and then that would kind of in Joker 2, you can explore that even further. He could escape the insane asylum. He could think that he's the leader of this movement and find out that he's not or something. I don't know. I think there's some interesting plot points. And Joaquin Phoenix did not say he was for sure on, but in the interview that I saw, he was asked, "Would you consider a sequel?" And he said, "I usually don't, but I really enjoy the Joker, and I really trust Todd Phillips. And if he's able to craft another story like he crafted with this one, I may be open to talking about coming back." So,
and of course, it seemed like he had a lot of fun in the movie. Loved everybody.
He said this was one of his best experiences he ever had as an actor. So
does Joker deserve an award? Maybe Oscar.
For sure.
For sure. As we said before, that wasn't recorded.
Right, that's why I'm bringing it back up.
I know. I get. If this movie doesn't get any awards, like, something is wrong. Which, in all honesty, sadly, it wouldn't surprise me if it didn't, just considering all the controversy that was in the media about it, which none of it came to pass, and then this movie ended up, in spite of all the controversy, propelling itself to astronomical success.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
yeah. No, for sure. Does Joker really deserve a sequel? See, part of me is like, this movie is good as its own, and I don't know if I want a sequel, but if it's in the hands of Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix, and if Joaquin Phoenix is on board, then I think it would be good, because he's obviously not...
Thing is, they left enough loose ends that it works as a self-contained movie, like, I don't know, Pulp Fiction or whatever.
Or A New Hope, even.
Yeah, some of the stuff could totally work as a self-contained movie, and with just enough unanswered questions where you're like, huh, what an ending. Or like, yeah, but like a sequel wouldn't kill me.
Yeah,
I love it.
Like, I would be down for a sequel, but at the same time, I kind of don't want one, just because there's so many times where like the sequel ends up like pushing to areas where it shouldn't, and just kind of like ruins the name or just the movie.
See, but I trust Joaquin Phoenix. If Todd Phillips writes a script and it's not good, I don't think Joaquin Phoenix would be on. If the script is good, and like we're talking like to the level of Joker, the first Joker movie, or even better than the first Joker. And that's the only way I think, Joaquin Phoenix is going to get on, in which case I would be down then. So I'm going to trust that if this second movie gets made, it's because Joaquin Phoenix was on board and he thought it was a good movie.
But
I do see your point that sequels often aren't as good as the first movie. But let's take Star Wars, for example. A New Hope, really good. Empire Strikes Back, most people consider Empire Strikes Back the best Star Wars movie ever. One of the best movies ever, actually. Better than New Hope, which was already a really good movie. So, although, yes, sequels are often disappointing, they're not always. Sometimes their sequels do trump the original movie.
So, like, what do you think would be a really compelling story? Like, I already asked, like, what do you think, like, story-wise, like, where they could go from here? But, like, what do you think could be a compelling story that would have the same effect as the first Joker? Because that's, like, what I'm worried about, is, like, where do they go from here? Because if they push him to become the clown king of crime, then it shifts more from a drama possibly into more action, and then drifts away from its meaning.
I will give you my proposal. Okay. So it's 6 months later. Okay. Gotham is on lockdown because, or 3 months later, whatever, not too long in the future, where everything will come back to normal. Gotham's on lockdown. There's a leadership void because the mayor got killed. Okay, so the scene is they're working on the election for mayor. Okay, because the election is supposed to go ahead, even though one of the candidates got murked. Okay, so the election for mayor is finally taking place. The National Guard is all over town. Okay, but tensions are rising again. Like, the riots happened, people got jailed, but you can't jail everyone. And so that's where we're at. Is a Gotham City on edge? Joker escapes, or I don't know, he gets out somehow. Okay. And now he goes out, like, expecting to be greeted as this hero, is like, I'm gonna lead the people to rebellion and overthrow all the awful people in this city and, like, get rid of the society that treated me like filth. And no one's receptive to his message. No one sees him as special. He's just another guy, and he can't handle it. Something like that.
So I could almost see this becoming a trilogy. Now, if we did a trilogy, I think that would give more room. So the first movie is the creation of the Joker. The second movie could be the rise of the Joker, and the third movie could be the fall of the Joker. Does that make sense? So in the first movie, we see how the Joker was made. The second, and we saw him kind of start being the Joker, but not really. It was like maybe the last 20 minutes, and not all of that was necessarily true. The second movie could be him actually creating, this uprising that was created because of his triple murder on the subway. He could actually find himself as the leader, even though he isn't the leader right now. He could actually create like a cult, right, of Jokers, which would kind of see in like Dark Knight. You know how he had like the other Jokers with him, at the beginning. What if he did something like that, and then he rises, and then maybe in the third movie something happens, and then it's torn down. Maybe we get a Batman or something, or it could be the sequel. The thing is, though, you wouldn't have Joaquin Phoenix on board. Joaquin Phoenix is obviously much older than Batman is, in the movie. So it inspires a different Joker to come in, right? And then we would actually see Batman Joker. But I don't know. Then again, I don't know if I want to see that in the same universe as this Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
That's kind of like where I'm at. Is like, how do you get a compelling story that doesn't drift into like an action stereotypical superhero movie? Because obviously the Joker is meant to rise up, fight Batman, and fall, and rise up and fall, whatever, or just rise up and then fall completely.
Give me a Joker story that's entirely detached from Batman. Give me a movie about Commissioner Gordon, who is like the one not crooked cop in the city, dealing with like all these crooked cops and these Joker imitators, and give me like a weird, uneasy alliance between him and the other Joker who feels and the actual Joker who feels disrespected by these protesters using his image but not talking to him. Give me like, I want to say a buddy cop movie, because it's not a joke, but it's like some Commissioner Gordon, like, who ends up working with Arthur to try to like do that, and it all ends in tears because, of course, it does.
But like, how do you go about that without going into like the realms of an action movie? Like that's like there was such a departure from like the standard like superhero action or just action in general in that movie. It was just tense. It was like slow.
It was character driven.
Yeah. And like to be able to continue that, it seems like he's already peaked as a character. Like, not saying he can't develop more, but like
the point of the story has already been told.
Yeah. So like that's why I think I'm against a second Joker movie.
That's fair.
As nice as it would be.
See, I don't know. I think it could be interesting though. So you have this. So it could be, as I said, it could be the rise of Joker. So by the end of the second movie, we could see Joker ruling Gotham, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are having this mayoral thing. What if they were to essentially abolish that and Joker were just to become the self-pronounced, ruler of Gotham,
I could see like essentially like them like really uneasy and like trying to figure out like who will mayor be like on lockdown and whatever, and then Joker breaks out and like essentially comes in and gets some goons or something to just like wipe out the competition, and then the Joker just comes in and steps up and just that's like that would be like the end of the Joker, like him just taking over Gotham completely.
But yeah, but then I guess how does this character grow? Because I think
success, then it will ruin the character.
Yep.
Yeah.
True.
So I don't know. Quite frankly, I don't know what a good sequel would be, but if one gets made, hopefully it's good. I think if, as I said, if Joaquin Phoenix is on board, I trust his judgment. So
yeah,
I think there could be ways to do it. I'm just not sure how to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Well, moving on from Joker, I think.
Speaking of things that we don't know how to do, let's segue into the next topic.
So segue is
I'm sorry, that actually kind of worked. That's upsetting.
As like a meta thing, like we're so bad at segues. Here's a bad segue, and we're just gonna acknowledge.
See, the thing is, I'm not the worst at segues. Josh is the worst at segues. I'm like okay when I want to be.
Keep telling yourself that.
I sit here dying inside a little bit more every time.
So what is the next topic? What did we talk about last time that doesn't exist? We talked about video
games because we talked about how Outer Worlds came out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which looks phenomenal, and reviews are like just rave, like both from critics and from just everyone, like the general people, it seems. Which I'm basically just waiting for it to come out on Steam at this point because I don't know if I want to go buy the Epic Game Store.
Yep. And like from the sounds of it, like it's good because it has like just the right length of story to where it's not super long, so it drives away the people that like don't have the time, but it's also long enough for those people that have like a lot of time or like really get invested.
Yep.
It's got enough stuff for them to do, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it was made by the guys who originally made Fallout, and people have called it a Fallout clone, but realistically, a lot of people are saying it's what Fallout should have been, right? Like these new Fallout games.
Yeah. It's like Fallout meets Firefly meets Borderlands.
I know from like the first trailer that they ever showed at like E3 or whatever. I remember watching it and I'm just like, oh, it's space Fallout. Like that was my first thoughts on it, just because like it looks so similar, just like the gameplay and everything. But yeah, it sounds like it's doing a lot better than Fallout's franchises right now.
Well, yeah, that's because I never played Fallout 4. From what I've been told though, is Fallout 4 was okay, but it did not live up to the hype. And so it was a bit of a disappointment that way. Fallout New Vegas, which I have played a little bit of, is, from what I've played, phenomenal. I've been told by everyone else it's phenomenal. And I've played a little Fallout 3, which I thought was alright. But yeah, I'm excited. I kind of want to play it now. I don't know if it's one of those things. If I really have time for it, and I have a bunch of other games, and it's on the Epic Game Store. If it was on Steam, I'd probably consider it a little bit more. Seriously, but so there's Outer Worlds, which looks awesome. 2 other upcoming games, which I think are going to be awesome, are... And now for soccer talk. I almost said Star Wars. And that has been soccer talk.
That was so botched.
I botched it. Because I was thinking Jedi Fallen Order, so I started with Star Wars talk, and I realized that was soccer talk.
So, Cyberpunk 2077.
That one and then Cyberpunk 2077 are the 2 big ones that I'm excited for, because I haven't been too excited about EA's treatment of the new Star Wars games. Like, the first 2 Battlefronts have been a little bit of a disappointment. But this one actually looks really good. And apparently the reviews say it's really good too. So it comes out in like a couple weeks. You can pre-order on Steam, which is the other thing I've been surprised by, is it's not Origin exclusive. So, although I was told today that Origin is moving all their games to Steam, ?
Oh.
So I don't know. I haven't actually verified that.
I didn't hear that.
I haven't verified it. It was just what I was told today by someone at school. So I don't quote me on that. You'd have to double check that.
Let's just have Steam take over everything.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice from the standpoint everything's in one spot, but at the same time, competition.
Yeah.
But on that same note, was Origin really ever a competitor to begin with?
Nope.
So, I mean...
So, okay, one thing that I don't get, and granted, maybe I'm just dumb, but... Like, okay, so, like, the big controversy between, like, Epic Game Store and, like, Steam, like, how they were, like, holding games from going to Steam early, they're still kind of doing it, and, like, everyone was, like, big uproar about it and, like, really upset, but I personally don't get that, because it's, like, you just have another, like, a different thing that you have to click on. Like, it's not that much of a hassle, you know?
It's just, it's nice to have your entire repository of games in one spot. Yes, it's just, it's another program that you have to have. Although it's, like, it's totally doable. It's just, PC gaming is complicated enough, at least when compared to consoles. It's just, Steam is one of those things that was like, it's simple. One of the more simple things of PC gaming.
I don't know.
So.
You're simple.
I think there was more of the concern that you were going to get Epic Games, and then you're going to get a bajillion other platforms, and then you'd have 20 different platforms. Like, well, which game is this one on?
Yeah,
gotcha.
It's kind of like the concern with streaming services right now. With it used to be Netflix, and then it was Netflix, Hulu, and Prime. Right? I don't know when Hulu and Prime came out, but it was Netflix originally, and then Hulu and Prime hopped on. Those were the big 3. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but now you're going to get like Disney Plus, and you're going to get like all these other ones, and it's just like now. No, you're gonna have 20 streaming services. You're gonna be spending $200 a month or whatever, and then it's like, oh, this show's on this streaming service. This show's on this, and you gotta remember which show is my streaming service on. Yep. I mean, which streaming service is my show on? But yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of that,
honestly, like, nope, my segue.
Ooh.
I wasn't gonna segue off of that. I was gonna bring up something.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Luke. In exactly 6 days, Disney Plus comes out.
Yeah, the 12th.
Yep, which means I will be binging Sweet Life of Zack and Cody for like a week. It's gonna be great.
I'm gonna wait until Christmas and then get it, just because I want to watch The Mandalorian. And
that's fair.
I think the last episode 8, comes out on the 27th of December. So.
Yeah. Okay, Luke, you can go ahead and do your segue now.
Well, I was just thinking, like, do you guys remember back when we were kids, instead of Origin and Steam and all that, it was boxed games that you would get at the store?
Oh yeah, I was actually gonna mention something about that. Like, having to click on another application is still easier than having to get up from your couch, walk over to the cabinet or wherever you kept your games, go searching through the boxes to find the one.
The disc.
Yeah, the disc, and like put it in and like.
Yeah, but do you remember, like, every game that you installed, especially if you played on PC as a kid like me, like, you could just click on it was a different icon for every single game.
Yep.
So we don't necessarily want to turn back time to that, but we might want to turn back time for other reasons. Let's talk about time traveling movies a little bit, huh?
Yes, the time traveling movie.
Whoa, deja vu. I feel like we just talked about this the other day.
Oh yeah. I would make the same jokes I made in the last one, but I just don't have the energy for it.
Let's just go back in time and bring back that, Luke. Anyway, so
let's talk about Terminator.
Oh yeah, that's how we got onto it because I brought up Terminator Dark
Yep.
Fate.
Yep.
Sucks. It's gonna lose so much money. On
I know.
Joker.
So I think what the movie was estimated to cost like $400 million, and that's marketing and movie, and it's not supposed to hit that. Like it's supposed to fall way short, like upwards of $200 million in loss, which is just insane.
That's an oof.
Especially because it's like a Terminator movie,
Yeah.
which, in all fairness, probably should have never been a franchise. It should have been like 2 movies and done.
Yeah.
So,
They keep going, and it's
Rehashing-
just the same thing over and over and over.
Rehashing old franchises is not what the people want.
I mean,
True.
they basically just took the Star Wars model. They're like, oh, it's a Terminator for a new generation, so let's just bring in all these old characters for nostalgia, and then
take away all of their agency and cool
yeah,
stuff that they did.
and then I'll introduce all these new characters, which are a bunch of cardboard cutouts of the old characters, and aren't anywhere near as interesting. So yeah, and considering it didn't work out for Star Wars, it's definitely not working out for Terminator.
So this is really off topic, but like you mentioning that brought this idea. Is there a confirmed Transformer, like another Transformers movie coming out?
Probably they had that.
They had Bumblebee,
standalone.
which actually like apparently was good.
Apparently was good. I didn't see it though.
But like I haven't heard anything about Transformers. Granted, I don't like follow them anymore because like I kind of grew out of that phase.
I would be
but-
surprised if they didn't, because like
Yeah.
those movies, you don't need, like, it's just a bunch of CGI explosions and crap, and then like, oh, it makes $1 billion at the box
I'm
office.
pretty sure there was actually one point where I don't know who it was. I want to say it was the guy that like either wrote the storylines for Transformers, like wrote the scripts and what, or the director said
Michael
that
Bay.
said that he had like 20 movies planned.
Sounds like a Michael Bay thing.
Yeah,
Sequel-
and then like
The
I haven't
sequel
heard
to
anything
Bumblebee is
since.
currently planned. The sequel to Bumblebee is currently planned. There's no sequel planned for the last.
So okay, so let's just shift the franchise to Bumblebee and just redo
What if we
it.
just focused on the most popular character of the entire series? Do you think that could possibly work?
Sounds like an anime.
Sounds like a solo movie, which
and then
also.
John Cena playing it entirely straight, while everyone else is fully like action movie stupid, and then John Cena's just like, guys,
Ba-ba-da-ba.
John Cena.
it's actually John Cena, and then he like hits his move on the giant robot, and it
Yeah.
just squashes him, just
Dude.
dead.
Luke, did I ever? Never mind. This is off topic. Disregard that.
No,
we were
no, hit me up.
okay.
It's a
So,
podcast.
so we were talking about. We were just talking about John Cena, right? Do you remember me showing you the clip from like way back in Destiny 1? There was a boss that like ground pounded, and he ran out of the door in one of the missions, and
Yes, I
like
do.
jumped. And there was a cut where they did, and his name is John Cena, ba-ba-da-ba, and just smashed the entire team. Like, memories.
Amazing.
Now, actual culturally relevant discussions.
Dude, Destiny 1 John Cena meme is culturally relevant.
Is it?
What do you
I've never
mean?
seen it.
Okay, John Cena has moved beyond wrestling at this
I
point.
mean,
Just
John
like
Cena
Rock
is
did
culturally
before.
relevant.
True.
Yeah.
I was more of making a diss towards Destiny.
Bro,
So
Destiny 2's like killing it right now.
Really?
Like their player base.
I
and
thought
like
Destiny 2 pretty much killed everything, but.
it's
Oh, The Witcher. I know we brought up because we brought up streaming service titles.
yeah, it's-
so we brought up The Witcher. We're just all over the
dude,
place.
this timeline is pretty whack.
Like
This is
time
just a
traveling.
remix.
We're just
This is
gonna
just a
hop
remix
back
of
to
the
time
last
traveling
podcast.
now.
Whoa.
I'm gonna have to make a bunch of cuts just in the audio later.
Oh. Jeez. Okay, so we have like 4 topics. Which one do we want to pick? That we've like kind of started down the road on.
John Cena.
No, we're not gonna go down that one.
So that one's off the table. So
Yep,
we're down to 3.
We're down to 3. We got time
Wait.
travel. We've
Can I
got
have-
Witcher.
Can I have 2 minutes to talk about John Cena?
Okay,
Fine.
and now for wrestling talk.
Okay. Out of the 3 wrestlers that have moved from WWE that I can think of to have moved from WWE into big screen movies, there's John Cena, there's The Rock, and then there's Dave Bautista.
True.
Arguably, Dave Bautista is the best actor out of all of those.
We talked about this back when we talked about
Did we?
Stuber, Luke. Yes.
Am I dumb?
Yeah.
I think you just forgot. When we
Right
brought
on.
back when we watched Stuber, we talked about how Dave Bautista, although he's not the biggest of the 3, he's the most dynamic of the 3 as an actor goes.
Because that's probably like the biggest thing like between those 3 is like John Cena always seems to be playing John Cena.
Yeah.
The Rock always seems to be playing The Rock. So
Meanwhile, Dave Bautista's got range.
mhm.
Yeah. Even though he's probably the smallest of the three as far as actors go.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say he isn't a big actor. Him acting Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy and the Avengers movies really catapulted his fame as an actor. But
yeah,
I mean, he's still probably the smallest of the three. So.
Yep. Well, cool.
So we got that topic down. So we're still down to 3: time travel, Witcher, and time travel.
Time travel.
Yeah.
2. We're off the second
Time travel the second.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of time travel the second, let's talk about Back to the Future number 2.
Okay.
The best one in the series.
Yeah, which is the best Back to the Future? I think. Can I just say that the third one, although good, is the worst one?
Yeah.
Oh, by far.
I kind
of. Which one is it where they go like he goes back into the West?
That's the third one.
Okay, I really like that one. That scene's like ingrained in my mind.
It's a good movie. It feels like The Last Jedi. Sorry, not The Last Jedi. Ooh. It feels like Return of the Jedi of the Star Wars. Like the first two are really good, and Return of the Jedi is good, but it just kind of falls a little short of the first two.
Yeah.
And that's why I felt like this third one in the Back to the Future was, it was good. It fell short of the first two. I would argue the first one's the best though. The second one's really good, but the first one's the best. But that's just me.
Yeah.
So, but I would say that the competition is between the first two movies.
Yeah.
For which one's best. So which one do you know? Because you said, I think if you remember right, you said you kind of just watched them all at the same time.
Yeah. I haven't like watched them in forever. And I remember the last time that I watched them like all the way through, like seeing like because I had seen bits and pieces here and there, but like the last time I watched all of them through was like the same night because they were having a marathon on TV.
Yeah.
And so I was just sitting there and watched like all 3 straight through. So I don't know where the line separates for.
So considering the first one came out in 1985, so that was almost 35 years ago. I think it's safe to say that if you haven't seen it, that's your own fault.
But just in case, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert for Back to the Future, which came out 34 years ago.
Spoiler alert for those boomers out there.
Yes. So the first movie, the general plot is he's a high schooler. He gets sucked in with this, Doc Brown, who's his like best friend. Marty McFly's really good friend, Doc Brown, who's kind of crazy, invents a time machine. He steals plutonium from the Libyans. Libyans track him down, kill him. He gets in the time machine, shoots off to 1950, which is 15 years. No, sorry, 1960 was it? It was 15 years in the past.
55.
1955.
He went 30
It was
years
30
back.
years in the past. That's right, because his mom was really young. He ends up finding his mom. His mom, since he saves his dad, doesn't fall in love with his dad, but falls in love with him.
I think he should have been deleted instantly at that point. Well, no, because it was still like recoverable.
Still recoverable.
So that's what we talked about last time, is how time threads work. But basically he has to get his parents back together, and then he just barely does right before he fades off. And that's the first movie. The second movie is he goes 30 years into the future, so 2015, and then flying cars and everything. And then it's kind of
attempt.
Yeah.
I just thought of a great title for the podcast.
What?
Correcting the Timeline.
Correcting the Timeline. Okay. We'll remember that.
Ooh, okay, I'll put that down as an alternate.
So then that brings us to the conversation of how do you think, if time travel were a real thing, how do you think it would work?
I said like Avengers.
Broken.
Broken. See, I propose the theory of when you go back in time, you're erasing everything that happened. That way, like it's 2015, you've erased everything going back to 1985. That doesn't exist anymore. It's not an alternate timeline. Then, if you're in 1985 and go back forward to 2015, you basically just speed through everything, so everything happens based off of how everything had happened from the moment you left. So that way you're not creating a bunch of alternate timelines. Which maybe the future looks exactly identical because all you did was maybe move a few baseballs around, and like that just affected the Little League team and they lost a game, but that doesn't have any bearing on the future. But that was my theory of how time travel worked. Unlike Endgames, where it's like, oh, we're creating all these alternate timelines and we're still able to go forward in our own future, even though we just created this offshoot timeline. Whereas like Back to the Future, there are those alternate timelines, but you're not able to, if you change something in your timeline, you go forward, you go on that diverging timeline. So
Right.
The way that you said that just made me think of like Rick and Morty, how like if they were to go back in time and change like a minor thing and go back and something like drastic happened, they would have a timeline then that's like not their original timeline, but one where they like moved a cup and that they could hop over to, and like everything would still be like normal because it'd already be branched off, separated from that drastic event.
see, in my argument would be that alternate timeline doesn't exist anymore because you just erased it by going back.
Well, yeah,
And
yeah.
my timeline would be once that cup gets moved again, if it goes to the same place and it's the same timeline,
Mm-hmm.
it reconverges.
And so then
Josh,
how would go ahead?
Josh, we are going to need you to take one for the team and just time travel back and ruin your parents' marriage.
Yeah.
So
that's
if you
what.
don't, I mean, in the past, not in the present, like you're currently doing.
That was the joke I made last time. Was if I were to go back and make sure my parents never met, I would never actually exist ever because in this new timeline they never met. I was never born. There is no alternate timeline where I do exist.
So then how does the timeline reconverge?
So basically, then you would have to reset everything as close as you could to how it originally happened. Like as I said, you moving a baseball or a cup 5 inches probably is not going to change the timeline in any significant way, in which case you would not notice. There would be no noticeable difference between timeline A and then this new timeline you create. But now, so that's basically how you would do it, is you would go erase all the events that happen, put everything back as close as you could, and then go forward and hope that the new timeline is similar to your original timeline. It's like having two glasses that look identical, but they're not identical, right? You have two timelines that look identical, but technically they're two different things. So that was my theory. If this hypothetical thing that will almost certainly never exist, if it did exist, how it would exist.
Like,
Right.
hear me out. This is one thing that we didn't talk about last time. But what about Doctor Who time travel?
I've never seen Doctor Who.
Oh,
I don't remember how it works because it doesn't seem like they actually change things.
yeah. It essentially,
Basically, like it's always been that way.
yeah. So essentially, the way that like Doctor Who time travel works is like there are like major events that have happened that are like you cannot change them. Like you can change like minor things, and from bullet point A to bullet point B, it will still like eventually get there. There might just be a little bit of like rework, but it will maintain that order. But those bullet points you aren't supposed to be able to change, but there are moments where they do change, and it causes a lot of bad things. So it's less so, it's kind of like the reconverging thing, but it reconverges on major points that you shouldn't be able to change, but there are ways of changing them.
So you're talking more like Back to the Future's time.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. But I don't know. That's my theory. That's the one I'm going with. My original one, that you're erasing time by going backwards and you're recreating it going forward.
The way that you say that, it just makes me imagine like the like spaceship, I think, scene from the Lego movie where it's like, woo, it's like it like cuts from like the actual like art to like just the little Lego
just a
ship.
little Lego rig.
And like all I can think of is like dragging an eraser behind as it's going by, playing the like really stereotypical like eraser like squeaking noise.
Squeaky, 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 squeaky. Yeah.
Little insight into my brain, I guess.
It's beautiful. Thank you.
So speaking of erasing things,
We erased this last podcast from existence.
we didn't.
We
Did you
erased
delete
Chayan's
it?
job
No,
from
I still have
existence.
Okay, so we didn't delete
I
it.
mean, it's literally on the hard
We're
drive. It's like years of it.
attempting. We're attempting to correct it.
Yeah, we're attempting to correct the timeline. This
Yep.
is. I mean, it's
I'm forcing that
it's
title.
kind of funny that it happened to be the time travel one
Yep.
in a way.
But
Coincidental.
The old title was better.
I don't know what the old title was.
It was
It's Give Joker an Award, cowards.
Give Joker an Award, cowards. That's what it was.
Nah, I think correcting the timeline's like better. Just because it
is-
fits with
it's
like
meta.
everything. It's
meta. only 'cause
meta.
We had to do this podcast
Yeah.
twice. Yes.
Speaking of things that got deleted lately, Cheyenne, how's
Luke's voice just got deleted. He's like, Chayan, speaking of how things got deleted recently, Chayan, how'd you...
Oh, I said job. but-
Oh!
Yeah, I guess if we want to talk about that, last Monday I lost my job. I showed up to work, completed my shift, like did all the cleanup and whatever, and my supervisor told me to come see her. I went into her office and she told me that they were terminating my employment. So
Terminator 7.
I obviously like asked questions and stuff and like tried to get some insight into their decision, which their decision wasn't justified whatsoever, but it's whatever. So I use the opportunity to jumpstart back into like streaming regularly rather than off and on, while job searching and doing classwork and whatnot. And so far, the streaming's been going pretty good, gaining ground. But it's a slow process.
It sounded like it was basically they had to cut costs or something because
so like during the winter, what they do is like they make foam for like different things, and like a lot of their foam is like they have like ground inlays that essentially like make it so you don't have to bring in tons of dirt. They're like large blocks that they drop into the ground, cover up with dirt, and like it adds like essentially a hill. There's like different like insulation stuff and whatnot, so like that's what they make. And then in the winter they don't sell as much because most of the time that stuff's being installed in the summer to fall.
Gotcha.
So it's pretty normal for them to cut the part-timers, which is I was one of them, for like it slowing down. But from the sounds of it, it hadn't started slowing down yet. It was just supposed to in the next like month or two. So it just, with the reasoning that they gave me and stuff, it was like they were just trying to find a way to like kick me out, but their reasons were completely unjustified and wrong. So it would have been easier if they just were like, hey, we're slowing down, like, bye.
Fair enough. I mean, you hated working there anyway, so
I didn't hate it. Like I didn't like the jobs because they weren't like that special, but I loved the people that I worked with. They were a lot of fun. It's just like the work itself, it was just a manual labor job. It wasn't anything special.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of my job either. I think I've talked about it before on the pod. So I am doing more with robotics now, though. So now that I'm doing more like programming and stuff. So that's
fun.
But yeah. Sometimes you gotta do crappy jobs, but you've been making money in streaming because people have been paying you to destroy stuff in Minecraft.
Yeah. So
That's
I was streaming Minecraft on Thursday. Yeah, Halloween. It was Halloween night, and I was streaming. It was getting late or whatever, and I had like an idea where I just like I threw up like a text box that's like donate $1 and I'll like burn my held item, donate $5 and I'll burn my like hotbar, which is like your items that you're easily accessible, and then like $20, and it went all the way up to $100, which was essentially $100 was essentially burn all of my good things, all of my chest, my ender chest, like everything that I had like enchanted, like really high level enchants and like all of that. And this mad lad comes in, donates like $5 a couple times, I think.
Yeah.
To have me clear out my hotbar. And then all of a sudden I see another thing and I'm like, oh no. And I like look at it, pull it up because I couldn't read it. And it was like, so-and-so donated $100. And I was just like, why? Why would you do that?
Second of all, why?
Yeah. It was a jarring moment. But I don't know how to explain it. It was a moment indeed.
And Cheyenne doesn't know how much money I've donated. Zero. I have lent my support in other ways.
By not watching my stream?
Are you kidding me? All right, you know what?
On to the next topic.
So,
what do we got?
Well, we had Halloween.
Oh yeah. So Halloween happened. Oh, I have a funny story from streaming. Sorry to cut you off. So that night when I was streaming, like before this all went down, I looked at the clock and I was still streaming like at like 12:30 or whatever. I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's 12:30. Hey, chat, do you want to listen to Christmas music? So we listened to Christmas music for like a solid like hour and a half on stream, and it was beautiful.
So let's talk about the moral efficacy of playing Christmas music as soon as Halloween is done. Like the body hasn't even been buried yet. It's been dead for 30 minutes, and you're playing Christmas music.
Yeah.
Is this ethical, Luke?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
No, we still have Thanksgiving. Let the body decompose some. Let the body of Halloween decompose before you start playing Christmas music.
Nah, dude,
Can we at
Chris,
least
it was
Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving's a perfectly valid holiday.
okay, but the thing is, Thanksgiving doesn't have Thanksgiving music.
Yeah, but you still got like
But,
a
like-
month after Thanksgiving
like-
to play Christmas music.
Well, but Christmas music just
Technically,
gets you
Jingle Bells is a
in the
Thanksgiving
like
song.
Christmas music just gets you in the spirit of the holidays. Like not even necessarily like Christmas, just holidays. Like it's just
Give it more than a couple, like give it a couple days at least. Like at least not 30 minutes.
so. What about 6 days?
So like
Today, can I? Am I allowed to play Christmas music on stream later?
No.
Oh,
If you do, I'm not listening.
dang. I feel hated.
I don't know. I think you should at least wait until Thanksgiving. Like if you want to play Christmas music like right after your Thanksgiving meal, then I'm fine with that. But like not before.
So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to bring a Bluetooth speaker. Black Friday, right? Go shopping. I'm just gonna blare Christmas music while we're shopping.
Oh boy.
It'll be great.
All
It'll
right.
be a good time.
I mean, at that point, it's basically Christmas season. So I'm
yeah,
fine.
I mean, because you can't do it
I
after
personally
Halloween.
do not play Christmas music until it's like maybe 2 weeks until Christmas. So we're
I'm good as
solidly
soon
into
as our
December.
tree's up, which is usually after Thanksgiving.
I remember
Yeah.
freshman year of college. It wasn't the entire month of December. It was because like if it was the entire month of December, it wouldn't be very long because Christmas break digs into that quite a bit. I want to say it was like right after Thanksgiving or something. I like completely decorated my room, like straight up like wrapped my door with
I
Christmas
saw that,
wrap,
yeah.
like hung ornaments from my ceiling, had Christmas lights and like wreaths up in my room, and pretty much played Christmas music about like 20 hours of every day.
Didn't you also have like a bajillion
Majestic.
RGB lights?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you sent me a picture. I was like, that is so much Christmas. It's like Christmas vomited in your room.
Yes, it was beautiful. I love Christmas. Christmas is a
Christmas
fun
is
time.
great.
Christmas is my favorite holiday.
It's ruined when people decide that 1/6 of the entire year needs to be dedicated to the one holiday.
But like,
it's
why is that
great.
bad? Like okay, is Christmas music bad?
No, but when it's overplayed, it's like it's too much then.
That's why. Okay, so like I will agree with like the overplaying thing, but like at the same time, it's like we just need to eventually get to such a diverse selection of Christmas music to where like you have like a solid like month's worth to where it like barely
Months
repeats.
worth, maybe, but not 2 months worth.
But like, see, that's the thing is if they have a month's worth to like never repeat, then that means that they have 2 months.
Of repeats.
Chayan,
Just
no.
one repeat.
No. So speaking of the holiday we're actually on, that we actually
Thanksgiving
just passed,
or
well, the one we actually
Halloween.
just passed. Did you guys do anything for our Halloween?
I streamed.
Oh yeah, that's right. You dressed up as like a jock, Luke.
I dressed
Oh
up as a
yeah.
jock, and people, like, I was like full frat boy. I was wearing a varsity jacket over a tank top. I had skinny jeans on, Vans. I carried my stuff to class in a cooler and drank out of a red Solo cup all day. And maybe 50% of the people understood that it was a costume.
So
One dude asked me, like seriously and unironically asked me like how to get into the party tonight. I'm like, dude, I've never set foot in a frat party in my life. Like,
Do they
I'm
even
too
have
convincing.
those? Do they even
Yes.
have those? I
yes,
oh, they absolutely do.
like more than SDSU.
really?
Yeah,
Because like you're at a pretty serious engineering
Work
school,
hard,
Luke.
play hard. That's the name
yeah,
of the game.
that's what
Fair
they do
enough.
out there. Is like it's insane. Like when I went and visit, it was insane here. Like hearing how many parties are out there like every weekend, how many people get drunk like every night.
Wow.
Like,
Mhm.
but like it's just it's kind of a way of coping with the stress because it's very stressful over there.
Yeah.
Which granted,
Although
it's
I
not
feel
good,
like that's a
but-
bit of a catch-22. Like you're drinking every night, so you're like wasted, and then you don't do well in school, which just adds to the stress, and which means you just drink more.
But see, that's
it's like a
the-
downward spiral.
That's the incredible thing about some of the people. They actually still do good in classes.
Do they, Luke?
Do what?
Do they still actually do well in spite of their drinking and partying?
Some
Some.
people that learn to balance.
Yep.
See, like if there's a balance.
Some of the hardest partiers are some of the most successful people.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It feels weird, doesn't it?
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, to each their own. But yeah, so like your costume and whatnot. I actually saw the photo in Discord, and like legit just thought you were like getting ready for your road trip that weekend, like this last weekend. I like, it was like you had your cooler, so I'm like, okay, he's gonna throw that in the car with like drinks and whatever. So he's like, he's heading out, but like he like posed for the photo, and then later I realized that was your costume, and I'm like, but
Oh.
okay, he's just himself.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. I think on the last pod, I came to the realization that that was Luke's costume and not actually his like just regular outfit.
Yep.
See, I am too convincing of a frat boy because I was acting like one. Like I was just like, yeah, dude, like what's up, bro? And like fully just leaning into the costume. Like this is how my voice was the entire day.
It sounds
So-
cringe.
So what you need to do, come April. I know I said this last time, but come April, you need to dress up like that in the morning, and then on your later classes, act like you were sick for those first classes. But like go back to your normal persona, you know?
Would have worked.
Like I highly suggest you do that because that'd be hilarious.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. One of my friends said that it was terrifying and to never do that again, please.
This
So,
is why you should do it for April Fools. This is why, Luke.
I will consider it.
They opened the door for you.
Messing with people is my favorite.
Yes. Speaking of messing with people, I'm going to do a really garbage segue into the next topic. What's the next topic?
You don't even know?
No.
So Cheyenne, I think that you know how you got fired.
Yeah.
And the Terminator movie also lost a bunch of money, just like you did.
Yep.
So can you be the star of the new Terminator movie?
I cracked that joke
Yes.
earlier. Terminator 7 terminated.
Yep.
Yep.
Anyway.
Did
But-
you crack it earlier in this podcast?
No.
Yes.
Mhm.
When you were talking, I was like, Terminator 7 terminated, but I don't think I said it loud enough.
Yeah,
for
you didn't.
guys
Yeah,
to-
you didn't say it loud here. You said it. You definitely said it last time.
I know I said
Yeah.
it this podcast, but
But I guess going off of like terminating and being terminated, I feel like we should go ahead and terminate this episode.
I think that's about right. Yeah. Luke, you want to roll those credits?
We're putting it down for.
We're
its own
putting it
good.
down.
Down for Jimmy, take out the dog. Yes, mother. For a walk, Jimmy.
You've
Look at the
been
rabbits.
terminated.
Look at the flowers.
No. Look at the
The
bunnies.
flowers, Lenny.
Look at the bunnies.
Or look at the flowers, Lizzie.
Look at the bunnies.
I was going with the Walking Dead.
I know. And I was going with the original.
Look at the bunnies' experimental reality.
Luke, we have terminated this episode.
Yeah,
Finish it off
we're
for
like,
you,
I
for
feel
us.
like Luke's trying to draw it out as much as he can
He's
because
just
he
like,
didn't.
I can't pull the trigger.
He didn't get the segue into the ending, so he feels bad.
Did
and
Luke
just
flunk a segue?
no, he just didn't get it.
That's what I mean.
I
He
didn't-
flunked the
yeah,
segue.
Whatever.
Anyways, this has been experimental reality. Thank you for.
To wrap up a series better than the idiots behind Terminator 6, thank you for listening to Experimental Reality. We'll be back next week with more experimental content. Experimental Reality is executive produced by me, Luke. Our multimedia coordinator is Cheyenne. General manager is Josh. Music is provided by our good friend Jason. You can find us at Experimental Reality on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play Music, and Podbean. If you want to get in touch with us, email us at experimentalrealitypodcast@gmail.com or connect with us on Twitter at ERPod. Thanks once again for spending time with us. We hope to hear from you soon. We'll catch you next week in this experimental reality.
Oh man,
Creeper.
oh
You
man.
guys suck at this.
Okay.